Hello and welcome to this new lesson in which we will deal with the multiple addition of users. That is to say, we will see how to insert several users simultaneously. A very important function because in some cases it could save us a lot of time. Since for a certain number of users, we will configure a whole series of characteristics that will be valid for all, without having to do it one by one. So here, after logging into our Office 365 account, we find ourselves in this environment from which we access the administration environment that we already know well. We open the User drop-down menu and go to Active Users, where, as we have seen in some previous lessons, we find the list of all the users in the organization. We have this button for adding multiple users. We click here and this screen opens. It is very simple to add multiple users at the same time. You can add up to 229 at once. If these lines are not enough for me, because instead of 5, I need to add 6, I will click here on Add a Line, and here, an additional line is added. Then for each user, we will write the first name and last name and the username. That is, the part of the email address that precedes the @ sign. Quickly write user 1, it will be user 1 service advice daily @ or Microsoft.com. Then Office 365 automatically adds this and the domain. In case the organization has multiple domains from the drop-down menu, I can choose the domain where I will create this multiple addition of users. Only one, and then I find only this one. We proceed with user 2, user 3, user 4, user 5, and user n. Here, in User, after entering the first name and last name, as well as the username, corresponding to each user that we want to insert with this multiple addition. Just click on Next. Here, the environment where we assign the licenses opens. It should be noted that if I choose here to assign the Microsoft 365 Business Standard license to this edition, multiple means that each of these new Office 365 users will be assigned a Microsoft 365 Business Standard license, which will obviously be charged to our account. That is, through the payment method we have indicated in our account. I never tire of saying that it is absolutely well spent money. For my part, as I have already mentioned in another lesson, I only pay €13 per base. Now, I cannot assign a license to anyone, so I will say that I cannot assign a license to anyone. So I will say that this multiple addition of users is done without a license. Thus, do not assign a license. Here, it is indicated as not recommended because obviously, users without a license will then have margins. They will have extremely limited leeway in the account. For example, they will not even be able to modify a Word file. Something very important because the modification of files in OneDrive allows simultaneous work between multiple colleagues, or even with external users outside the organization. For example, if I have a file to which I have made a modification, and when a user makes a modification, OneDrive saves the version prior to this modification. And next to it, the name, day, and time of the person who made the modification are displayed. So I choose not to assign a license. I continue. Here, it gives me the possibility, just like when I carry out any other procedure in my administration, to verify the data I have entered, to check its accuracy. Once I am done, I will invite them and then click here on Send an Email. The email has been sent successfully. Next, they will log in with the temporary credentials of usernames and passwords and will be able to modify them later. We are done here. This is a very important function, as important as simple. So here we're going to close. We're going to see if they have been added. Obviously, we should find them in the list where all the users of the organization are located. Here they are added, users 1, 2, 3, 4, 5N. So what can we do from here? We can choose one of these users, manage their license. We have not assigned the licenses to this multiple edition. We could go and say that we want to assign a license to user 1. So we are going to do it. We will be able to manage the groups. That is to say that user 1 must be included in a specific group or in several existing Office 365 groups within the organization. Without having to go into the group, then add this user 1, which is obviously possible to do. We can modify the username. We can delete the user, and with a double click on the user's record, on the user's name, this opens up for us. Corresponding file from which we can modify all the data we have previously entered, as well as additional data. For example, when we made the multiple addition, just to mention a few examples, if we were dealing with the alternative email of the email alias, we could create one. No, we have taken care of the role that this user should have. Here, it is written that obviously he does not have access as an administrator, but by clicking here on Manage Roles, I could assign this user, for example, the role of SharePoint Administrator, Teams Administrator, Local Administrator, Application Developer to this user, and we haven't even assigned a manager yet to this user. If we obviously need to do so, we could indicate that in the company, the superior of this user 1 is called in a certain way, and we will connect user number 1 with a determined superior in the company. So we will say that the superior in the company of user 1 is Christopher Johnson, and thus I record the changes. So tomorrow, when I reopen the file of user number 1, I will find that his superior in the company is Christopher Johnson. As you could see, a feature as important to use is simple to achieve. So let's say that for the simplicity of developing a business, for the simplicity of this operation, this lesson on adding multiple users can end here, and I will see you in the next lesson. Goodbye. Captioning by Société Radio Canada.